What's going on, my peoples? The Main Card Podcast is back. I'm here, your boy Mike. My brother-in-law Ryan is there. I hope I'm pointing the right way. Maybe
you
there.
Good. I don't know. No, you got me.
Okay. In this episode 3, like I was saying, and we got some big fights coming up this weekend. We didn't give you all a podcast in a little while. Just wanted to let things kind of play out a little bit. Besides, really, I haven't even seen my brother-in-law in a long time. I usually talk to this guy a ton.
Oh, yeah.
But we both have just been a little bit busy with these last couple weeks or so. Mm-hmm. So don't hate on us. Don't go away and find another podcast. This is the one you want to watch. This is the one you want to listen to. Oh, yeah. And we're going to try to make it in audio, right? You think we could possibly try to do that?
Yeah. So I'm going to try and do everything I can to, edit it audio-wise and then put it out on everywhere you hear podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, places like that, wherever you get your podcasts. So I'm still doing some research on that, how to format it the right way. But, we should be getting it to you that way too.
Okay, cool. Was a cool card. I just want to mention last week, the main event was pretty good. It got changed the last minute. Islam Makhachev, don't get at me on that one either. Islam was supposed to fight Rafael dos Anjos. Islam had to back out. Dos Anjos fought Paul Felder. Paul Felder jumped in with like 5 days notice, lost 22 pounds in like 3 days. It was like insane. What a great fight, though. Paul Felder, man, he looks so good. He was training for a lot of triathlons coming up here that he was about to step into, and was kind of had one foot out of the UFC octagon in semi-retirement or talks of that, and one foot kind of in to see what happens, and this one brought him back. And he said after the fight, this one rejuvenated him. What'd you think about that fight?
It was good. I was obviously pleasantly surprised by how Paul Felder performed on such a short notice. And it definitely helped, like you were saying, that he was doing all the triathlon work. So his cardio didn't look what someone who accepted a fight a couple of days in advance should look like. Mm-hmm. So props to him for putting up a good fight, accepting that fight. Not a lot of dudes would do that, accept that fight last minute. It was good to see him back in there. I haven't gotten to see him fight. I don't know, when's the last time he fought?
Dan Hooker, I believe, was his last fight that he had, which was a war, which he lost in a decision. It was awesome, though. But I think from that, he was saying, like, I can't keep getting beat up. I can't have my daughter see me beat up like this. Plus, he has so many opportunities through UFC to do commentating in the Contender series and on a lot of the UFC fight nights and pay-per-views. So I think with those guys, that's just a natural transition if that's presenting itself. And he was halfway out, but that really for them, that's like the easiest guy to call, because he's kind of in the quarantine COVID testing pool, of where he's doing events. So he's used to it. And they called on the guy, and this rejuvenated him, man. And I'm excited about that because I love Paul Felder, and I love the way he fights. I love the way he approaches training, and just his commentating has gotten so good. So I'm a big fan. A lot of good things, I hope, are on the up and up for Paul Felder. And Dos Anjos, man, I thought it was a good fight. I really liked the way Paul Felder handled himself. Dos Anjos was just kind of like sticking his head in his crotch. Am I allowed to say that on? Okay. I didn't. It's not any other way besides like he's trying to take him down, and he's just kind of sitting there. And he took him down a couple of times and did a little damage, not much. But I felt like Dos Anjos took kind of the easy way out, and I know that's easy for me to say because I'm on this side of the TV. But it's like if you're gonna take these fights and you're in the main event, you should bring the heat. That's what Dana White wants to see. That's what we all want to see. I think Islam, if he would have fought Islam, I don't think he would have been able to go any of those takedowns or even try them because of such the great grappler that Islam is and coming from that Habib camp. It just felt like, well, maybe it was on the short notice that he really couldn't prepare for a guy like Felder standing up. So he said the best bet is to try to take him down, but it just looked it looked boring, man.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. Just one of those scenarios where you're fighting, you're game planning for a completely different guy, saying you're going to do different things, and then someone steps in last second, and you're like, okay, well, I have to make it past this guy.
Yeah.
Let me just do what I have to do. So I feel like your team comes with a quick, easy game plan where you just boom, 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 go out there, do what you got to do, get the W, and leave. And that's not exciting for the UFC. That's like you said, Dana White doesn't want to see that. But if you're a fighter, do you want to win a fight? Do you want to lose a fight? So I can't be too mad at him about his style. I definitely agree that he had to change maybe completely his game plan because of this. But yeah, I can't be too mad about it just for those exact reasons. It's never good to see someone drop out because of injury or sickness or whatever it was. It's never good to see someone you hype to see and then it switches last second. So it was, props to Paul Felder and props to Dos Anjos for just bringing the fans a fight at least, because the last thing you want to do is see that canceled. So
yeah, without a doubt. So that was good, and that went off. There was one or two other fights in between there, but I mean, I think Glover Teixeira won, right? Beat Thiago Santos,
right.
And that was great. And what's gonna happen with that fight as well, in the sense of what is Glover Teixeira gonna do? Is he gonna fight Jan Blachowicz?
Right.
Is he gonna come up and fight Jan Blachowicz? I think that's all got to play itself out. So we'll be bringing some more of that to you on the podcast that we record after this, which is after these fights on this weekend. We wanted to bring you a preview of what we thought about these fights, sprinkle in a little stuff here and there, and then get back to you again on episode 4 and give you even more information. I do, though, want to say this because I'm getting parched. Mm-hmm. So I know from the first episode I had a brewski. Second episode, I did not. I was drinking tea. Yep. I wasn't able to get out. But third episode, I'm back, and I got this right here.
Oh,
that's the Three Floyds Barbarian Haze IPA.
Okay.
That's where it's at right there. I got these the other day, man. Cool looking can, man. Look at this guy on here.
Nice.
Cool looking guy. I got these on Veterans Day because I was like, you know what? Why not? And my father-in-law is a veteran, and I got these for him. So me and him had a couple of those to relax a little bit, and I had one left over. So cheers to me. Do you have one?
Oh, sorry. I'm getting all these notifications. I don't know if you could see it on the screen, but I'm getting. Here we go. Okay. I always got to keep something on hand.
Whoa, that's a big boy right there.
Yeah, I got the tall can. Look at my size of my head.
Oh my gosh.
Saltfish head, Sequench ale. It's a sour. Sours are my favorite type of beer. So this so far, it's like light, real light, refreshing. More like a summer drink, but I drink it all the time. This is my go-to right here.
Oh yeah. Now, if you notice something out there, Ryan goes with the sours. I usually go with the haze IPAs. That's where we really stand. So we'll try to broaden our horizons a little bit. We both do go Gentleman's Jack. So if you want to send us a case of that Gentleman's Jack Daniels, right? That is?
Yeah.
John.
It is.
I don't even know half the time because half the bottle is gone.
It's a fancy bottle.
So that's definitely what we could do too as well. But always good to have a brewski during the fights. We want to just shout out those out there for us for the podcast as well. So the fight, the UFC, what is it, a fight night, I believe, or so? These are always hard to predict.
It's pay-per-view, $255.
Oh, this is a pay-per-view $255. Look at this. I was so used to all the fight nights coming in.
We're here for the big one.
Oh my gosh. Here we go. Saturday, November 21st at 10 p.m., UFC 255, headlining the flyweight division for both women and men, and both championships. Oh, yeah. Oof, it's going to be a real one. So before we get to those, because that's the majority of what we want to talk about, there is also a light heavyweight fight between Shogun Rua and Paul Craig. I didn't hear much about Paul Craig.
Yeah.
Don't know much about him. Shogun looked really good in his last fight when he fought, when it was the 40-year-old versus the 40-year-old.
Yeah.
The 40-year-old Super Bowl. And
retirement party, but I guess not.
Oh my gosh, he looked good in that one. So, do you want to take Shogun again versus Paul Craig? What are you thinking here?
So let me bring you the odds. Vegas has right now Paul Craig at a slim favorite, minus 175, slim to heavy favorite. Nothing too crazy. Shogun Hua at a plus 155 underdog. I don't know. I feel like coming off that last fight, a lot of us thought that this was just like, a going away party for both those guys, Shogun Hua included. And I guess maybe he felt good after that. And he felt good. Dana White felt good seeing him in the ring and thought he had more to offer. And Paul Craig right now, he's sitting at 13-4-1. So a pretty good record. Shogun, who is 27-11-1. Like you said, there's not too much I know about Paul Craig. I don't know his style, anything like that, who he fights, trains with. But right now, Vegas has him at a minus 175. I'm assuming they're expecting Shogun Hua to maybe take a step back from that last fight, not look as explosive, and maybe this be his real last fight. So in terms of value, I don't know if that's really a really good spot to pick the underdog. I think right there, Paul Craig maybe runs through him a little bit, shows his youthfulness, and gets him out of there. But
yeah, it can go either way, right? Paul Craig can come in there and just start smashing him up and putting the pressure on him, because Hua is more of a stand back counter striker this point in his career, or Hua could look great and somehow miraculously hit this guy with a hammer, or heavy leg kicks, and get himself a win. I think with these guys, with their age that they're hitting right now in the UFC, with him, Glover Teixeira, those guys are on the good end of that 40-year-old or so looking well. And then there's guys like Donald Cerrone, which is very surprising because he's not even 40 yet. He's in his late 30s, mid to late 30s. And there's always talks of and Anderson Silva, another guy, 40, on the wrong end of it, though, of the losses. Who, I don't know, man. This is not one I would bet on either. This is not one I would say, you know what, let me take the underdog here, because I would be – and here's another thing. I never want to take my first bet anymore. Yeah. Being the first fight of the night.
It kills the rest of the night. You lose the first bet, and the rest of your night is done.
I don't like – so I would stay away from this one. I would stand clear. I am going to pick I'm going to go with the veteran. I'm going to go with Hua just by the fact of that. I hope he wins, and I hope he continues on.
Just pick him straight up.
Yes.
Not add into any parlays or anything.
Straight up. That's what I would do if I was doing it at all, but I wouldn't want to start my card that way. After that, who do we have in the women's flyweight division?
Just real quickly, I wanted to touch upon Paul Craig, because what I said before, I didn't know his fighting style. I didn't know who he fought with. Well, I just found a link that brings me all that information. So let me know if this changes anything for you.
Let's go.
Paul Craig, he stands at 6'3". They both have a 76-inch reach advantage. 76-inch reach.
Okay.
Paul Craig won one fight by knockout/TKO and lost 3 fights by knockout TKO. And he's won 12 of his fights by submission. He trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with the Scottish Hit Squad.
Wow.
He is from Scotland. He trains out of Scotland. His fighting style is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that's interesting.
So he's going to want to take Hua down, it seems like. Hua is not the greatest on the floor from past that I've seen. Craig comes in, maybe hits him with a knee as he's coming in. Maybe he chops him down a little bit. I could see Hua chopping this guy down, using his leg kicks really well to get a younger guy slowed down and, not feel comfortable about shooting in and trying to take him down. I'm still going to go with Hua there. I do like that. I appreciate that little insight, because I think that could change a mind or so, but I'm still going to stay with Hua for some reason here.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to go
Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with
Paul Craig. On the gentleman's bet, you're going Paul Craig, and I'm going Hua.
Gentleman's bet, Paul Craig. I like that. I like that little tidbit of information that I found there. That could help us maybe decide whether a fight's gonna go, how a fight's gonna go in terms of the method of victory. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that I'm gonna keep bringing it up as we go through the fights. So the next fight, another fight in the women's flyweight division. It's Katlyn Chookagian versus Cynthia Calvillo. Calvillo is the pretty heavy favorite here, minus 260. She stands at 9-1-1 right now. She has a significant disadvantage with the height and reach.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead while I figure out how to pull up her profile for all the stuff I just talked about for Paul Craig.
Nice, I like that. I believe some about Cynthia is that she used to train at Alpha Male. Now I believe she's in Vegas training with a lot of the guys there. I don't know the exact gym.
Well, it says I just found it. She says
Couture Gym.
She trains with American Kickboxing.
Okay. Oh, AKA. Okay.
AKA,
in San Jose, Habib and Daniel Cormier, all these guys. Okay, so she used to be an alpha male, went over to San Jose, and she is a grappler, and Katlyn is a striker, and this is that grappler striker fight that is classic. Whenever it goes down, how's it gonna go?
Right.
And I know Cynthia, you said, is the favorite.
Yes, pretty heavy favorite. Minus 220, I believe. Let me bring that back. Minus 260.
Now, I wouldn't be mad about taking Katlyn here. This might be where I go with the underdog here. I like Cynthia. She's stifling in the way that she grapples. She will put the pressure on you. She will go for what she is good at, and that's grappling and taking you down and smashing you up and then trying to submit you. So she can put a lot of pressure on you. But I think Katlyn could take that step back, and I think she could pick her apart. And I think it could be a decision. I don't think it could be a knockout or anything like that. I think she could take her to 3 rounds and really just put in work and look good, Katlyn, and then move up the rankings. I think Cynthia is right, but I just don't like her striking at this point still in her career, where I like her in a fight to where she can beat somebody like another striker, because I don't think there's any disadvantage between if you're a grappler or a striker, and you're going to lose if you're a grappler. That's not what I'm saying here. But in this situation, I don't like the grappler that I like the grappler that Cynthia is, but I don't think that she can get to this girl enough, especially with that range and that reach that you were just talking about as well. That's a disadvantage for her. I like Katlyn. I like her picking Cynthia apart for 3 rounds and winning.
Nice. So I think we might have our first leg of the Hail Mary podcast parlay. I think that I see a path to victory for Katlyn in the way that you just described. She keeps her range, denies takedown attempts, leg kicks, all that, strikes, maybe 1, 2, 3, get out of there, 1, 2, get out of there. And I think maybe she takes her the full distance. So how do we feel about Katlyn by decision?
I like it.
So I'll look into that. I'll look into the odds for that, but keep that in mind. Number one, the first leg of the podcast parlay.
That's cool.
Katlyn Chookagian by decision. So she's the underdog.
Podcast parlays, y'all.
Oh yeah, come on. These are the Hail Marys. These are the lottery picks. You throw $5 on it. Who knows what can happen?
This is the Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins Hail Mary.
Woo!
Ooh, oh yeah, that was nice.
Bills fans, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow. All right, we got another good fight for the next one. Listen to this one in the men's welterweight division. Platinum Mike Perry.
PMP.
Versus Tim Means. Mike Perry comes in at a slight favorite, minus 145. How do you think about that one?
Man, Mike Perry is that type of dude where he's going to go in and he's going to fight, and he's going to bring the heat, and he's going to bring the ruckus, and he's going to bring the noise and bring anything else that he could possibly bring in, including
Right.
his girlfriend to corner him. You
Yeah.
know, he's so unorthodox in the way that he runs his MMA life, man. I don't know how he trains or if he trains.
Right.
I've been seeing him on the embedded series. He's kind of saying like, I run whenever I want to. I do what I want. I don't know if it's good for me or bad for me or whatever it is, but I'm just going out there. And I know Tim Means is decent, man, and I think Tim Means is a safe fighter. Meaning when he goes in there, he doesn't do anything too crazy. He kind of does what he likes to do and what he's comfortable at. And I think Mike Perry's going to make him very uncomfortable.
Right.
And I think Mike Perry brings the heat. I don't know Mike Perry's last knockout when that was, but I don't know if I see a knockout. I know it's 3-round fight. I think Mike Perry could grind this one out.
Okay.
Again, another grind out 3-round fight where Mike Perry puts some heavy damage in every now and then. There is a knockout. I think it possibly happened round 2. I wouldn't even feel safe betting that. I would say Mike Perry in decision as well.
Okay. All right. Both these guys are big-time strikers. So Tim Means has a little bit of an advantage, 4-inch height advantage, also a 4-inch reach advantage. So I think that if he, like you said, he plays the safe game, Mike Perry could be running into a little bit of trouble. I do like the way Mike Perry fights. He fights with reckless abandon. He just goes out there. He does his thing. Like you said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. He just comes out and he fights. He just likes to fight. So I think that this one is really determined by how the fight goes, like how it plays out from the start to the finish. And what I mean by that is, if it comes out and Tim Means keeps his distance, plays safe, like you said, and just hits with some powerful strikes, the night could look very good for him. If it comes out and he gets overwhelmed by Mike Perry's, you know, his relentlessness, his, like you said, unorthodox style, I think that Mike Perry can come out of there with the victory. Two guys, so it's weird. These two guys are strikers with a lot of knockouts between the two of them. But I could see what you're saying with the decision. Both of them maybe taking it a little bit easier this time. If it goes in Tim Means' direction, I think it could be a knockout for him. Just because that would mean Mike Perry's putting himself in a bad position to be countered. And I could see a counter knockout for him, but otherwise, I do like Mike Perry by decision.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that too. I'm just trying to look at who Mike Perry fought and how that went for. And it's not. I mean, he fought a lot of guys where it's going to decision, and that's why I just feel like this one, unanimous decision against Mickey Gall.
Right.
Oh no, I'm sorry, TKO against Mickey Gall.
No,
wasn't that a decision?
That was
unanimous decision against Mickey Gall.
Jeff Neal?
Neal was what, a KO?
He lost by knockout, yeah.
Yeah, he lost. There's a lot of decisions in here, That's really what my point is. I'm stumbling on my words right now.
No,
it's not good. The Floyd's Barbarian Hayes yet. Only 2 sips of those. A lot of decisions, So that's why with Mike Perry, I just feel like he's able to, at this point of his career, get to the point of getting through 3 rounds and still looking good enough to get the victory. Mm-hmm. But I think he also, with this fight, kind of realizes he's kind of at a point in his career where he needs to show a little something to make that run. That's what I've been hearing him saying on the embedded series, that he wants to make a little bit of a run at welterweight right now. So that's why I think he puts a little more into it. Right. I don't know if it's a knockout. Don't be surprised if it is, but I would bet decision at this point.
Right. So I know you said you don't remember the last time he actually knocked somebody out was. Let me give you this. It was Alex Reyes, September 16th, 2017. That was the last time he won by knockout. And the last time he lost by knockout was just December of this past year. So I think that both what we're saying makes a lot of sense here, that if he's going to win, I think a lot of it's by decision. I think he does put a lot of pressure, but I just don't think he does enough to knock people out anymore. I think that when he puts himself in a good position to win a decision, it's because of his volume. He just puts the right shots uh, in sheer numbers. He's not really knocking dudes out with power. Um, on the other side of things, because he takes so many shots, he leaves himself open sometimes, and he can be vulnerable to a counter strike. So I think either way, if you think Mike Perry's going to win, it's got to be a decision. If you think Tim Means is going to win, I can see a knockout.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
So that brings us to the co-main and main event, both the title fights. First in the women's flyweight division. You got the challenger, Jennifer Maia, and the champ, Valentina Shevchenko. The odds on this one are just like any other Shevchenko fight, minus 1,600 for the champ, plus 900 for the challenger, Jennifer Maia. How do you see this one going, Mike?
I mean, I see this one going the same way a lot of the Shevchenko fights go. I don't think there's many women who could stand across from her in the octagon and make her uncomfortable, make her do things that she's not going to usually, do or feels uncomfortable doing. Fight a fight that she doesn't feel right fighting. She does her thing. She fights her fight. She makes you do what she wants to do and dictates the fight every single time. And I think she does that again. I think Maia is more of that grappler. She feels better on the ground. And anyone would feel better having Shevchenko on the ground. You don't want to see her standing up. So I think those attempts are going to be there to take her down. But I don't think she can get him because I think Shevchenko plays the distance game so well. Her strikes are so heavy. I actually think this one is a kick to the body knockout. I think Shevchenko kicks her to the body and just collapses her because I think she's going to work on her legs a little bit, but I think she's going to kick to the body a ton, and it's going to really help her. I don't know why I think this, but a lot of the Shevchenko fights I watch, I see back kicks to people's bodies, throwing that quick switch kick, to the ribs, and those are damaging, man. And I think with her bringing that heat to Maia, I don't think Maya's ready for this challenge yet in her career, and hasn't fought someone like this. And no one really does. And I think Shevchenko looks really good. And we're back in the dilemma, or the UFC is back in the dilemma of who do we fight? Who do we put against Shevchenko again? But I think, what could really help them is earlier in this card, the Caitlin and Cynthia fight is a flyweight. I think whoever wins that could fight Shevchenko. So I think that's really important, that fight earlier in the night, to then say who Shevchenko could possibly fight again, unless they somehow switch things around with the other divisions in the women that are in the other divisions and start them against each other. But I like Shevchenko, and I like body kick, and I like second round. I think it ends in the second round by TKO.
Nice. All right. I like that. Just touching on what you said, it's really hard to put together a game plan that you think could go out there and beat Shevchenko. Like you said, maybe her best bet for Maia is to get her on the ground, but Shevchenko has most of her wins by submission. She's never lost a fight by submission. She has 7 victories by submission, 6 victories by knockout, and the rest by decision. So even if she does get her on the ground, it's not like it's game over. That's just half the battle, is even trying to get her on the ground, come through all those punches and kicks like you were talking about. And in terms of the flyweight division for the women, they might have to really do something here, because if that fight earlier in the night goes the way we think it will, with Caitlin winning, Shevchenko just knocked out Caitlin Chookagian. So it's kind of like, do we really want to see that again? Maybe if you're Dana White, you're hoping Cynthia wins there so that you can make a new matchup for her, maybe throw her something else. But it's really coming to a point where, what do you do? It's been at this point. but I think you're right in saying it continues. Where what do you do? Who do you throw at her? Because you're not obviously not going to give her like you were saying, Amanda Nunez. Is just there's just no point in that. Maybe, but that would take a lot.
And
So
they fought before, correct?
yeah,
Nunez and Shevchenko?
yeah, and I'm pretty sure Nunez won. I think they fought twice
Nunez won.
now.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But Nunez definitely won either one or both of those.
Yeah.
Um,
They
in,
fought twice, and Nunez beat her both times.
yeah, yeah. And no one beats Nunez until Nunez beats herself and retires.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. But that's what that's the fights I want to see in these women's divisions when it's like this, when someone is cleaning out the division and they're I think that's what the UFC's got to make those super fights to keep that, either that division or that buzz of that fighter going, because we can't keep throwing them in there against these other girls. Like Maya is like, oh, it's great, God bless this girl, but she's going to need more than blessings to keep her, trying to get out of this octagon safe, man. This Shevchenko is dangerous. She's so fun to watch. She's so good. She's so crisp in her striking. And all of this groundwork you're telling me that she's doing by winning is even crazier. So why would you even want to get in there with her? This is going to be a good one, though. I think it's going to be impressive to see Shevchenko in there. So I would go, as part of my parlay bet, I would go round two, Shevchenko.
All right.
And I'd love to see the body kick.
All right. I like that too. I would have to look into what the odds are on that because she's already such a heavy favorite that I don't even know if picking the round will help someone out. Like it's that much of a favorite where you could pick first round through fifth round and it's probably going to be even odds because saying it could end at any time.
Okay.
But we should definitely look into that one. I
Yeah.
like that. I like Shevchenko knockout. I feel like if we're gonna throw her in there, we definitely have to pick the round on her for sure. So I like second round. I like second round as well. So we'll do that. We'll go Shevchenko knockout in the second round.
Cool.
All right, that brings us to the next fight, the main event, the men's flyweight division for the title. You have the challenger Alex Perez versus the champ Davison Figueiredo. Right now, Perez is at a plus 240 underdog with Figueiredo at a minus 280 favorite. What are you thinking about this one?
So I was watching some of Perez's fights before. Contender Series choked somebody out. First fight in the UFC officially choked somebody out, both by the same choke. Third fight or so, he fights number 4 ranked guy and knocks him out by leg kicks. And then he fights Torres, which a pretty heavy, a heavily regarded fighter in that flyweight division. And he throws 104 strikes first round, Perez.
Oh.
He hits him with 104 strikes, and he takes him out. And Perez just runs through one guy after another with chokes, with leg kicks, and with strikes. He's won every way possible, And he is the guy at this point right now who you want to see in with Davison Figueiredo besides Cody Garbrandt, who is possibly going to try to jump in there at a flyweight, fight and see how he could hold his own. I believe that was the initial fight to start with this. And Garbrandt had to back out for whatever reason. And Perez, some type of injury, and Perez jumped in. With that being said, and this guy could win every way he could, this is going to be a really good fight, I think. I don't think it's going to be as easy as Figueiredo dismantled Joseph Benavidez and some of these other guys. I think this kid is pretty rugged. He's going to stand in there. He's going to want to strike too. Very good on the ground. Very good grappler. Decorated wrestler. This guy can do a lot of different things. But I just think that Davison Figueiredo is so heavy-handed that when he hits you, it's like a flyweight hit. I mean, not a flyweight, a featherweight hitting you. It's devastating for these guys at this weight class. He's a big dude, cuts a lot of weight, so you're going to see him look really thinned out and out at the weigh-ins. Don't let that deter you. Hopefully he makes weight.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's missed weight before. Hopefully he makes weight. And if he makes weight and this fight is, for the title, I think he holds on to it, because I think if you get into those exchanges with him, which I think Perez could, I think Figueiredo is a good scrambler. He's going to get up and get out before he can get choked out or anything. He's had some good finishes on the ground too. So I think both these guys could finish each other on the ground, and I think that's why it makes it such a good fight, because when that happens, both of those guys are standing up, and
Right.
both of those guys are going to bang them. So they kind of cancel each other out, two great grapplers, and then they stand up and they bang with each other. And when you get that, you get a great fight, the best fight that I like. But you also get, at that point, a heavy-handed guy in Davidson who is going to, I think, hit him so hard that it's going to possibly put him out. So I don't know what round that might be in. I think for Figueiredo's, for him to do it, for him to knock a guy out, I feel like it has to be like the first or second round. I think once it gets into the third round, it starts to favor Perez a little more, and the fourth round, because I think that Figueiredo sucks so much weight, cuts so much weight, that could affect you in the later rounds. So I like Perez if it starts to get into the later rounds, but ultimately I like Figueiredo early in the fight in those exchanges that I think are going to have the stand-up, and I like Figueiredo to win. I don't know how. I want to knock out, but I just like him in a TKO early, first or second round. I don't know which one it is, because if it goes on, I think Perez can get that second juice, man, and really start putting the heat on the champ.
Nice. Yeah, no, you broke that down really well. I think that the way Figueiredo punches is just, like you said, devastating. He's got the power of a featherweight. He's got, the speed of a flyweight, and he's very accurate. He's underratedly accurate. He throws, right now, his significant strikes are about 10% higher than Perez's significant strikes, and that number could be just from the sheer volume that he throws as well. So that kind of waters down your accuracy a little bit. But still, either way, I think you're right in saying they cancel each other out on the ground. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, other one's a wrestler, and they both have a bunch of finishes by submission, to the point where you're like, all right, now I can take him down, he can take me down, we can get in a wrestling match or a grappling match, or we could just sit here and throw some hands, let the hands go a little bit, and see who's really the champ here.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I think if Figueiredo is going to do it, I think he has to do it first round, maybe second round. I think third round, he still could put him out. I think you're right. It starts to favor Perez a little bit. I still think he has the third round. But if it gets in the fourth and fifth round, I think Perez just has the ability to, just keep the motor to keep going in that being his natural class, his natural weight class. So I like Figueiredo first round. I like Figueiredo knockout in the first round. And if he doesn't knock him out in the first round, I like Perez to win by decision.
Okay.
So,
It's going to be a real one, man. I'm pretty sure I'm watching. Now, Saturday is my niece's, fake birthday, the birthday before the birthday. So shout out to my girl Lucy, man. We're having a little cake, just us that live at the crib there, cake and a little dinner. So that's going to be fun. I don't know if I'm going to stay there and watch the fights. I highly doubt it. I'm probably going to go over to your pop's house with them and watch the fight with him. And I know he's super pumped about the co-main and the main event. He thinks it's both knockouts as well. He's going to be super pumped about a first round knockout of Figueiredo if that can go down. So just give the recap really quick of what we're thinking for the main card podcast parlay.
All right, so we're thinking, right? Caitlin Chukagian by decision, right? By decision, first one in the parlay.
Yes.
Second one, we like Valentina Shevchenko by knockout in the second round. So Valentina Shevchenko knockout in the second round, and then
just too high of a favorite for us not to have to pick a round.
Right, and then we like I
Okay.
believe we like Figueiredo in the first round. In the first round knockout for
Yes.
Figueiredo. So there's your three legs of the parlay. Caitlin by decision, Valentina Shevchenko by knockout in the second round, Figueiredo by knockout in the first round.
Oof. Oh my gosh.
That could have
This is
some juice to it.
this is gonna be real. This is gonna be super real.
That could have some
Um,
juice to it, for
it's
sure.
a good card. Tune into it. Buy it. Invest in the UFC, man. It's such a great organization and sport to be a part of. Subscribe to us, like us,
Oh yeah.
do all that for us. Follow us on TikTok. I believe we gave that out on the last episode,
There we go. I think we gave it out on the one that didn't get released.
the unreleased episode.
The unreleased episode, the hidden episode that we didn't. I was in some computer and technical issues. I wasn't
Okay.
able to get it out in time for it to be relevant. So it's not like you don't want to put out some analysis for a fight that everyone knows the answer to already. So then you sound silly, or you sound like you're just repeating what you saw. So um, yeah. So on TikTok, we are here. I'll put it. All the links are going to be right here. Respect the bets on Twitter, underneath Mike. Respect the chat on Instagram, and I'll put it somewhere in between TikTok handle. Respect the crew. I'm working on. We're not TikTok guys, but that's where we can reach a whole new audience. And my first one I put out there, it's pretty basic, just some clips from us here. But I think I'm going to try and get better at, all the things you could do um, with that platform. So hit us up, bro. We got all the content you need. We're gonna try and be more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, try to get you with the audio.
Yeah.
So you can listen on your drive to work, on your lunch break, whatever it may be.
On
We
your run.
Yeah, on your run, get some hype talk from the main card podcast,
Yes.
and yeah.
And hopefully soon, very soon, these other cats, man,
Yeah.
respect the chat. Other two brothers there, Frankie and Rich, man, they're slacking heavy on the respect the chat. We haven't had an episode in like a month, 2 months or so. So me and Ryan may just have to come correct and invite Rich and get him on here. Frankie's just a little busy. And we could do it through Zoom, and then we could convert that audio over as well. But just busy lives, man. We're not podcasters or YouTubers. We're people who have jobs, and we have to go to work every day. And then we got to come home and make time in between, girlfriends and wives and all this other stuff that's going on in the world as well to try to get on with each other. So we just love doing this. We want to keep doing it. Please stick with us. Great game tonight in the NFL. We're huge NFL fans. Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. Really quickly, who do you got, Seattle or Arizona?
Well, I think it's gonna be a great game, first of all. But I got Seattle. They're coming off 2 rough losses. They're at home. I think that Pete Carroll's a crazy percentage off 2 losses. His win-loss percentage. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I think that was a rough game for the Cardinals. They had all that excitement off the Hail Mary win that they had to battle for. I think they come out maybe a little bit flat. I'm going to go with the Seahawks -3. I'm going to take the spread as well if you're betting on it. But I think the Seahawks win this one.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Seahawks win too. I think Pete Carroll is like the record, like you were saying, is crazy coming off of a loss like that. Is that what it is, off a loss?
I think it's off 2 losses. Off 2 losses, his record gets even better. So
yeah. So I really like what they're going to do. They're at home. I think that they got Carlos Hyde back. They're going to run the rock. They're going to establish that. Alex Collins sprinkled in there a little bit. DK Metcalf is going to get off a couple catches and a touchdown, I think. But do not deny my brother from another mother, Kyler Murray, and my dude, DeAndre Hopkins. I think they have a huge game. I actually think this is a big shootout, man. The first game was a great game. A lot of points scored. Great for fantasy football. I think this is another one we're going to get on the Thursday night. Right. Another great game. So the main card podcast, that's us, me and my boy Ryan, here, there, wherever it is, up, down. Check all this other stuff out that's around us. Please tune into us. Please let us know what you want to hear from us as well. And we'll definitely be coming with a recap of 255. Is that what it is? 255?
Yeah, UFC 255.
Coming really, really soon after the fight. So stick with us. Hopefully we'll get an episode before Thanksgiving, so I won't say happy Thanksgiving yet.
Yep.
And Main Con Podcast, bro. We out.
Peace.